top of the morning to you. I'm gonna be real breathy as we walk up this extremely steep hill. Oh my God, I gotta show you this. Woo! It never does it any justice. Woo! If you're wondering why we're putting ourselves through this, no, it's really not that bad. We are walking to the boatyard. I love walking, but if you've ever walked in Grenada, you know that it's very hilly. There's a lot of endurance involved in a simple 1.5 mile walk. Good morning. Do you like walks?
Love walks.
We actually really do love walks. This is just a little bit nerve-wracking when your life's at risk around every corner because people drive so fast.
Yeah, reckless.
Like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of laws of the road. For example, we went to get him a license when we first got to Grenada, and they really kind of just say, in this area, go about this speed limit, in this area, go this speed limit, and that's it. You don't really see anyone get pulled over for stuff, so you have to be very careful when you are walking.
Yeah, no one goes the speed limit.
No.
Especially taxis.
Oh my gosh, taxis just freaking go however they please. They go so fast, it's kind of obnoxious, but we're getting so close to being in the water. Look at that shiny prop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to finally put on this beautiful yellow, bright prop glide paint. And we're just really happy that it's so clear out right now. I'm excited. Bright yellow. Our boat's gonna look like a toy boat when it's done being painted. Blue, red, yellow prop.
Scraping all the stuff off the bottom and the sides because there's sediment. We're gonna shake this for 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
I know.
Don't worry, I will not show you him shaking a can for 3 whole minutes. It's kind of ridiculous. And it's raining. We have one coat on. And this needs to dry for about 5 minutes, and then we put the second coat on. So we're just hoping that it doesn't rain hard enough to where it's like coming down the side of the boat. Right now, it's iffy. Hoping for the best. It's like this week is just taunting us. We just cannot seem to complete a task because of this weather. Captain is allowing me to do the touch-ups. I was given the okay for touch-ups.
Killing it.
Yeah, well, there's not much paint, so.
Sad dinghy.
After being in storage for quite some time, she was looking pretty lifeless. Tanner pumped up the hulls with air, and we flipped her over to clean off some of the barnacles.
So we've pumped up the dinghy, sprayed it off. Now we're going to spray it with some soapy water and see if it bubbles anywhere and see where the leaks are so we can patch them. So far, not too bad. One pretty good leak that I knew about, I just didn't know where it was. It needs to be patched, and then one more tiny one that I found. That shouldn't be too big of a deal. Get those patched, flip it over, and then try to find the big leaks.
Unfortunately, the major leak we've been dealing with all season is still a problem. We can't seem to find the source without starting a major repair. So, for now, we do the best we can. We rested up and got back at it again the next day. If you've ever made a bed on a boat, you know it's a whole thing.
Mixing up some adhesive for the patch for the dinghy to add a thin layer to the back of this patch. We already scuffed up the surface with a little bit of sandpaper, so it should adhere nicely. Not let the wind catch things. Give them the area a coat, and then we'll let it sit for 30 minutes. And I gotta do a new one of these because the other one just fell in the dirt. So.
Yep. We just had this crazy interaction with this lady on a boat in the boatyard next to us. She was walking like kind of close to our boat, so I waved like I normally do with anybody. And she shook her head, and I was like, that's interesting. I don't know if maybe like she didn't see that I waved. So when she like turned around and looked at me again, I just like smiled and waved. And then she said, what? And I was like, oh, I just was waving hello. And so she walks up to me and Tanner at our boat, and she said, why are you waving it to me? And I said, we don't need anything. I just was saying hello. And she said, no, you weren't. You know why you're waving at me or whatever. And I was like, what? We have literally no idea what you're talking about. And she said, yeah, you do. Enough of this. Yeah, you do. And she kept saying that and walked away. And Tanner and I were like, well, now we have to know. Like, now I want to know because I have literally no idea what this lady's talking about. Be careful who you wave at is the moral of the story. So I have an update on the Handwave People situation. There was a guy that came down from the boat. So Tanner walked over there and he said, excuse me, your wife was extremely inappropriate to my wife. And so I walked over there and I said, yeah, I was kneeling by my boat and she walked by, made eye contact, and I lifted my hand and waved. And she really didn't like that. We explained this situation and he said, yeah, well, please don't overly greet us. We don't like being overly greeted. You guys, you can't make this stuff up. Overly greeted, apparently, because then she looked at us and Tanner waved, and that was way too much of a greeting. Mind you, they've been in the boatyard near our boat for a week now, and I've never even waved at them because she's never made eye contact with me, and today she did. So listen, I learned my lesson. You can't just wave at everybody, okay? We had like a 3-minute conversation with this man, and he not once said sorry. He just said, don't greet us, basically. There you have it. Never a dull moment. You never know who you're going to meet. Anyway, we had way more important matters on our hands for the day.
We got our outboard back. We are going to do a 20-hour service on it. We gotta change the oil here. Oil filter. We're gonna change the gear lube, spark plugs, and then just kind of do a visual inspection of the engine. Make sure everything's looking good, working well. Look at the fuel filter. And I'm gonna put some T9 rust and corrosion protection on all the little parts that need to be sprayed for rust, all the little metal things and moving parts and stuff, so that way it stays nice and fresh and lubricated.
Here it is.
Yummy. I don't have an oil wrench for this one, so this is what we're doing. The one I have is too big.
For the engine.
Yeah, it's for the main engine. So we're using this wrench. Try to be gentle, not make a mess. Came out clean. Wow.
But even worth replacing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Always worth replacing. Looks like it has like a lubrication on the seal anyway, but I'm just gonna add a little bit of Yama lube because it's just a tried and true method. Put a little oil on it. Boom. Just stick it right on there. Hand tighten. It's supposed to be torqued, but I don't have a torque wrench for this size, or an oil wrench for this size, so we're gonna hand tighten it like every other oil filter is supposed to be. Assuming that'll be the same. Should be pretty good. Cool. We're just gonna fill her up. Taking out the spark plugs, and we're gonna replace them. Just making sure that they match. I know I went to Yamaha and was like, can I get the ones for my engine? But I just want to make sure before I put them in that they're the right ones.
People make mistakes.
Yeah. Nobody's perfect. So we're gonna stick these bad boys back in here. So we like to screw them down until they're hand tight and then just give them like a quarter to half turn. Because this is such a tight space, might just tighten them down with the wrench and then give them another half turn. Once it gets tight, quarter. It's supposed to be 1 to 2/3, so about half turn. Cool. So next we're gonna change the gear lube. Yeah. Okay. We'll squeeze this in here. I got most of it squeezed, so it comes out the top. That. She should be good to go. We have given her a full service. We're just gonna spray up some of the bits that can get rusted and corrode, so we're gonna do that real quick and should be good to go.
The time had finally come to get our whip back in the water. She still leaks, but it's become part of the daily routine. We also have a reliable outboard motor, and that is priceless, which is why this process was pretty difficult to watch.
Jag hade tunnel.
Kör vi lite? Put it this way, you want to pull this closer? Pull this stone closer. You got it? Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry. Can I get one-handed?
Once again. Wait. No. You're still sitting on the next one. All right. All right. 1, 2, 3, lift. So one, you guys. And then, right. Nice.
I'm glad I'm not having to do this.
Tight to the double.
Woo! I know, that was something else, man. 20-hour service.
And I just need to see if she starts.
Your key.
Let's see if she runs. She still sinks. So.
Yep. Nice. Good sound.
Ironically, before we left, we came across this sign in the boatyard.
What are you gonna do with that?
I'm gonna put it by someone who deserves it,
Someone's boat.
whose attitude needs to smile.
Agreed.
Thank you guys for watching. Join us next week when we finally launch our boat.